Hi there, it's Kevin with RogueDeckBuilder.com here with another Frontier Brew. I'm going to try to give a daily brew. This is also a three-color deck, so I think now until the Frontier format actually kicks off, I have some plans for it in the future. I'll talk about that as the video progresses. But this is another three-color deck that can be an option for the submission for my team at Amino Apps for the Brewers Challenge. This week is going to be a Frontier deck with three colors. You can go back to my last video, the Sidisi's Prize, and I explained more about Amino Apps and the challenge we got going. So I thought I'd throw this one out here too, because I like to go back to some of my decks that just weren't quite there and see if they can be added on with some of the newer cards. And see if that pushes them over the top. So this was a deck that used Cryptolith Right with Dragon, Tempest, and Thopter Engineer to give the artifacts haste, and they can do some pretty degenerate things at that point, just generating a lot of mana to cycle through with Evolutionary Leap or Duskwatch Recruiter. I've got it in the sideboard at the moment because I don't know if it fits quite in the main. But so then eventually getting off like enough Thopters for a Kolaghan the Storm Fury to give them all +1/+0, or the Descent of Dragons is the best way to do it. You sacrifice destroy all of your creatures. If you have a Dragon Tempest out, all the dragons come into play and see each other, and they also gain haste from the Dragon Tempest. So it's exactly what the combo wants with Descent of the Dragon. Is the 4/4 dragons, of course, do have haste, and then for them, because you don't want to then run into like a Languish or any other board wipe and then have the Descent of Dragons be for nothing, since this is sorcery speed. So this is the best way to do it. I think in older versions I've had more. I've had like a full playset of both, and it ends up being very clunky, so it's just like an alternate win condition. This is basically just a value deck, and in Frontier, value is everything. It seems to be more of a war of attrition than really what we have in Standard right now, which I call who can assemble their I win button quicker. So that's, people have talked about it. Can you have the first turn for the Marty Vehicle decks? They're definitely looking for their first turn 1-drop, second turn Smuggler's Copter, outrace your opponent. And so that's kind of their I win strategy. They get that, it's hard to interact with. We have in Standard 2 with Aetherix Marvel, turn 4, turn 5 Aetherix Marvel to try to find Emrakul. Green Black Delirium, same thing. Just try to find Emrakul as quickly as possible while controlling the board. And then in the U-White Flash, it's just trying to get Avacyn or Gideon out of control before your opponent can really handle it. So in Frontier, the format has a lot of like Jeskai Black control base strategies that are going to try to 1-for-1 and just outvalue you. And so a deck like this does a very good job of keeping up with value, as the Thopter Engineer leaves 2 things behind. Weaponcraft Enthusiast is 3 things behind. Nissa can start just pumping out more and more tokens and putting +1/+1 counters on everything. Pia is 3 cards for 1, and the Marionette Master is 4 cards for 1. So that this is definitely just the whole idea of this deck is just to win through the combo. It's also got Westville Abbey, which is still pretty powerful in a format where its removal of choice is Murderous Cut or Lightning Strike, which of course Westville Abbey dodges, but you do have to worry about Crackling Doom. Crackling Doom is a real threat for Westville Abbey. You do have to sacrifice your biggest creature, and so I don't know if against those type of decks you probably won't try to go for the Westville Abbey. What makes Westville Abbey pretty good though is you can still just continue to generate the cleric tokens for that War of Attrition. So that is kind of the gist of the deck. The thing that I think that there is like Virulent Plague in the format. There's a lot of hate for this type of strategy. I've been a fan of tokens though for quite a while, especially when you can synergize them. So Marionette Master and cards like Descent of Dragon, Dragon Tempest is always like these synergy type strategies I like to build. I do not consider myself a combo player. I consider myself like a synergy player, if that makes sense. I don't like to go for like 1 turn or 2 card combos or try to assemble the scenario where I just win. I know that's in here with Descent of Dragons. I like decks that try to build toward each other, like this card affects this card, which affects this card. And you can see this deck is just chock full of synergies. So again, I'm going to continue to do this, try to bombard you with Frontier formats. There is no nefarious thing behind this, but again, I can't believe I have to repeat this over and over because every goddamn video has people accusing me of trying to manipulate the market and whatnot. I, along with other people, are incredibly bored with Modern and Standard. This is our way of actually trying to find something that will work, and it just makes sense for me, makes sense for my shop, makes sense for everyone in my local community. We are both of our tournaments this Friday at Magic were unanimously voted to be Frontier. Everyone has just bought Frontier decks, and is excited to play Frontier decks. It's brought people that quit the game back into the game because they can now play their older cards. Yes, I realize that there can be problems with this non-rotating format, which I actually like that it's non-rotating. I don't think Extended failed for a reason. It's just another standard that rotates and your cards become useless. So I like the idea of Frontier, and I'm going to continue to keep brewing. Speaking of which, I think take this with a grain of salt because I don't want to promise anything or guarantee anything until after February. I know I'm one of the more fickle content creators here on YouTube. I will produce a lot of content and then go off the grid for a while, then produce a lot of content. Life is busy, but I do want to after February start hitting this hard. But until then, I do want a Frontier. I want to try to organize a Frontier tournament. So I've talked to a gentleman. We're going to try to actually record some gameplay of commentating off of people in the tournament, so like the top 8. So my goal is to get like a 36 to 64 or it'll be 32 to 64 man tournament, and just organize it in a chat room on MTGO, or we'll organize it through Discord or something like that. And then once we get to the top 8, that we not live stream, because of course if we're going to be showing people's hands, then people can just log into the YouTube or Twitch and see their opponent's hand. But anyway, it'll be a little bit of a delay back, and then we'll live stream it and commentate on the top 8. So that's my goal, but I can't promise that will come to fruition before February. So be looking forward to that. I think we'll do it out of a Rogue Master Brewer competition, or that's what we call it, right? Yeah, Rogue Master Brewer. We haven't done one we tried to do one for each set. We missed it with Kaladesh. It was just way too busy for all of us over at roguedeckbuilder.com. So until then, though, I think we're going to try to get this tournament organized. If you're interested, just keep viewing the videos, and I'll let you more details as it goes by. Also, I am pretty much every week, if you don't know this, you should know this by now, but I do a video series over for Cool Stuff Inc. for Gathering Magic's channel called either Playing on a Budget, where I take a budget deck under $100 and play it, or my preferred choice, which is the Rogue's Alley, where I just build a Rogue Deck Builder brew and then play it on the Gathering Magic channel. I am just kind of bored of Standard. I played a fun deck this week, which was quite entertaining, but there's not a lot you can do in Standard at the moment. And there is a lot of different decks. There's a lot of ways to cast Emrakul. We'll say that. There's a lot of ways to play Smuggler's Copter or Gideon, but they're still Smuggler Copter and Gideon decks. They're not really anything but that. And so I'm incredibly bored with Standard at the moment. So I'd like some help with Frontier. So if you have any access to Frontier cards on MTGO and would like to play some rounds with me, usually what I do is a 4-round tournament, or not tournament, 4 rounds of Frontier or of a game, and do a deck tech in the 4 rounds, and they post it on Gathering Magic. So I'd love to showcase Frontier. Unfortunately, there is no channel on MTGO for Frontier, so I need some help if people actually have some of the more tier 1, I say that in quotations, with Frontier, that they can help me record a video series, and I'll play a deck, and we'll do it for Cool Stuff Inc. Next week. So if you're interested in that, just comment in the comment section below, and maybe we can maybe just find 4 people, and then we can get that underway. So those are the 2 projects I have up and coming. We have a lot of other projects. For all those of you who are supporting the Patreon, I first of all apologize that I haven't been able to keep up on that. There's not many of you, so but I do have different tiers, and I do want to start rewarding the tiers. I know a lot of you have been asking for a Commander series, and I have that in the making, and it's just so incredibly time consuming. Again, that's something that I'm going to try to get better at doing, time management and whatnot, so I can actually produce content for the channel. And that's one of the things I want to get back on track, is the Commander series. So I'm going to try to by the end of December, which is in just in a few days, have at least some of those Patreon promises out. So if you're interested in supporting my Patreon, no pressure. It's just ways you can give back to the community. It's patreon.com/roguedeckbuilder. Appreciate all the donations. It goes a long way. I do have some huge plans. I know it's scary. It's very, very scary to be kind of taking this leap of faith. I'm going to just completely try to focus on being a content creator in after February. So that means really, really setting aside all the other projects and things in my life and then focusing on it. I mean, our entire goal that we have is with the local game store too, is to build it up. It's really, really hard to keep the local game store afloat in an area as small as Richfield. It's just with between rent, utilities, and whatnot, and that means you have to sell just to keep the doors open. You have to sell, a lot of product per month, and then everything after that, there's just a lot of expenses just to try to build it up. But ultimately, our goal is we want just like a nice little place to play in a cafe, and then a little studio just to record shows and whatnot. I mean, that's the ultimate dream, and so it's going to take a lot of work to get there. But that's one thing that I'm going to be diligently trying to focus on in after all my commitments are done in February. So be looking forward to that. Again, I've got this to-do list. I'm going to create a whiteboard and start crossing things out. Man, I am not good at finishing projects, if you can notice by now. But anywho, let me know in the comment section if you're interested in anything Frontier. I know people may feel like I'm pushing this on you. I'm sure I'll get bored and go back to modern and standard. I mean, we have A3 Volt coming out. This is something Magic. There's more than one ways to play Magic, and Frontier I think is an exciting new way to do so. So if you have any suggestions for this sideboard, if you have any decks that you'd like for me to kind of showcase, you can definitely submit those at roguedeckbuilder@gmail.com. roguedeckbuilder@gmail.com is my email address. I've been terrible at responding back to people in the past. Here's my sideboard, having a Dragonlord, Tarkin, and Ulamog in the sideboard and a Kolaghan's Command. This card's the best card in the Frontier. Oh man, this single-handedly keeps Smuggler's Copter down. Anywho, that's my deck tech. I'll have the deck list up in the description. And yeah, we'll get some more brews for you on Wednesday. I'll have a fresh new brew for Frontier. This has been Kevin with RogueDeckBuilder.com. Thanks for watching.